Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel Love for Intuitive Astrology. I really felt called today to make a video about the 12th house in astrology. And I'm going to explain it for each and every single sign and the ruling planet. So you can check out the sign that is in your 12th house. So always check the cusp, right? And for example, Saturn rules Capricorn. So if you have Saturn in the 12th house, you can look at the sign of Capricorn to have more information what this planet does for you. Okay, so a little bit in general about the 12th house, as this is a very mysterious house, right? It's ruled by Pisces. And Pisces is really about connecting with the divine, right? This sign is all about, a very intuitive sign. It's ruled by Neptune. So it's a lot of fantasy, illusion, but also connection with your dreams. So it can, on one hand, the lower dimensions is illusions, but the higher dimensions of the 12th house in Pisces could be a state of enlightenment, psychic abilities, channeling information. And a lot of people think, oh, channeling information is someone who is a channel, like famous channelers that are channeling spiritual information. Actually, you can get a lot of ideas and a lot of talents if you are in connection with, for example, Akashic records, or with the Universal Library, where you can literally, the ideas are going to be thrown in your head, and it's like your hand is writing, you're writing the story and you don't even know where it came from. So this is a state of channeling, which is not to confuse with possession or stuff like this. This is possible as well if you're on a lower frequency, okay? So I am very intrigued with how to break karmas through astrology, and also through working consciously with different energies. So what I experience is that you're in a low vibration, you're kind of open to the dark energies. So it's very important to stay kind of clean in your energies. So meditation, yoga, walking in nature. You can even go to a healer that can help you like clean up your energies. So people with a lot of planets in the 12th house usually have a very natural connection to the other side, is the subconscious. And my belief is that they have this connection because there is a lot of past life karma to resolve. Like there's this misunderstanding that when people are like this really old soul and that they are gonna have an easy life. Well, actually, people are born usually with psychic gifts, or like any type of spiritual gift. They got this gift to break karmic patterns and to get really like insights in what it is that has been going on in the ancestral line, that has been going on in their life, through affirmations. They're trying to change it through meditation because they have the awareness to do it. So it's not really like, it really depends what you're here to focus on and what you're here to do. So if you have certain planets in the 12th house, this indicates that you have past life karma brought over from these past lives, right? And this could give you unexplainable fears sometimes. Like, okay, I have a fear of water and I didn't drown in this lifetime, or I don't have any reason why I have this fear, right? And some of you are watching my video, you're like, I don't believe in past lives. That's fair. But the 12th house is a mysterious house, so I'm going to dive into the mystery of things on a like more grounded form. I can say that the 12th house is related to connecting with yourself, so listening to your own intuition. It could be being alone by yourself. Are you comfortable with that? Yes or no? could also mean hospitals and prisons. Okay, prison, hospitals, everything behind the scenes. So behind the scenes is what you do at home that nobody can see, what is going on in your internal system that nobody can notice. And even you don't always notice these ingrained patterns are there. So, you know, some things also come from childhood and come from your ancestral line. So if you're like, okay, past life's not my thing, then realize that DNA does go from one parent to the next, to the next, to the next, right? And we see a lot of these patterns also in the 8th house. Like, I will discuss that another time. But now I just want to focus on the 12th house. So the 8th house is really like cycles. It's ruled by Scorpio, right? And Pisces is more like the last pieces of the pie, I would say, to clear all the karma. It's complete surrender. Whereas 8th house is more a little bit of a fighting spirit. Like, I'm gonna dive deep in this. I'm gonna, you know, scan and break these patterns. While as Pisces is more compassionate and it's more about surrendering, right? 8th house is more to do with the dark side of life and to break these patterns. Although you could have Pluto in the 12th house, and I made a video about that as well. So what else can I tell you about the 12th house? I'm truly really intrigued by it because I've seen the best people, like really, really beautiful, amazing people with planets in the 12th house. And I've seen people that have traces of like bad, really bad traits, having a lot of planets in the 12th house. So this has to do with this frequency, okay? Because these people are open. So are you going to be spiritually open on a low frequency? So you're open to like dark entities. And some people do have dark entity and attachment without them knowing. So they do things, but they don't know why they do it. They're like, why do I keep doing this? So in some instances, I don't want to blame this, right? Because also we have to take responsibility for our own actions. But it does happen this way, right? Like, or people who hear like voices, or they cannot explain why they have to do certain things. This is also 12th house. And others, you know, the more you level up, the more you will like grow spiritually, like, and the moment you're trying to control, you're like, the universe will cut you kind of off. It's like, no. Oneness is surrendering. So, you know, that's why I like astrology, because you can see the blueprint, because some things don't apply to some people. Everybody has a different blueprint. Everybody has a different way of reaching their true potential, right? So what one person needs to become the best version of themselves is not what another person needs to become the best version of themselves. So in astrology, you can see the possibilities and you can help someone grow into the best version that they can be. And I think this is something truly beautiful, you know? So yeah, it's really about surrendering and letting go of also the material world. It's really a unity with other dimensions, and you know, the creativity comes from the other side. It is literally these people can be great painters and you know, like like an open flow where ideas are coming, or like technical skills that are like amazing ideas that come from like they just pick up something. But also people with planets there can be extremely overwhelmed. They are like washed away with people's feelings, sounds, noises. They have this open, almost open aura, so they can like almost like merge with a person, right? And not knowing, is that my feelings or is that their feelings? Is that my pain or is that their pain? So there might be some confusion, but you have to check which planets are there or which sign is there, okay? So let's start with the signs. I'm gonna start with Aries. So if you have Aries in the 12th house, or Mars, for example, you came from like past lives where you were some type of warrior, some type of leader, and there is kind of this inner anger and frustration that seems to be a little bit stuck. So obviously if you have just Aries there, it's a lesser degree than when you have Mars there, because Mars is locking in your energy and the way you want to take initiative. So you always have to rest enough, because otherwise you might get like a burnout, or you might overrun with too many and the anger might get stuck in your body and out itself with, for example, hormonal problems or like heat flashes. So it's very important to find healthy ways, maybe like swim or some sports that can manifest your energy well. So if you just have Aries there, you just have a little bit of issues unlocking your leadership, unlocking your identity. You might feel like your identity is merged into like the whole collective, right? So 12th house, also the collective. So you feel like, who am I among all these people? And behind the scenes, you feel more powerful, more like your leadership's coming up. But then once you're out, you're a little bit like, whoa, okay, who am I? Where's my identity? So you are afraid of showing your leadership skills. You're afraid to take initiative sometimes, okay? Depending on all your other planets, but this is the general description of what this means, okay? So this is Aries and Mars. Let's go to the next sign of Taurus. So Taurus in your 12th house. So we have to understand what is Taurus. Taurus is everything physical, right? It rules materials, it rules money, right? It's ruled by the planet of Venus. And, you know, if you have Taurus, so just the sign of Taurus, I'm explaining, you crave materialism, or you crave materials, or you want to value yourself, but somehow it looks like you can't reach it, right? So you might have come from a lifetime where you were very rich, where you had a lot of money, and now you have to experience that it's not always easy to get there. So you become more humble. If you have Venus there in the 12th house, Venus is the planet of love, creativity. It's really, when it's in the 12th house, you could have come from a lifetime of true love, and this is what you want. You want a true love, either with a person or with the universe. So subconsciously you are looking for a higher connection with God or the universe, but it's like you're so compassionate and so willing to find this love that you're kind of trapped into the wrong relationships. So these are like past life connected relationships that might come back, and this could be like people who take a lot, take, and you give. So very important here is healthy boundaries. Value yourself, okay? So if you have trouble making money, value yourself and get the value from meditation and do affirmations. I value myself. I believe I am worthy of money. I deserve money. I value myself, okay? So this is a short roundup of Taurus and Venus in the 12th house. So let's go to the next sign of Gemini. So Gemini is the sign that has to do with communication. So in some cases, right, and we do have another sign that co-rules Mercury, so check out where it's Virgo for you. But in general, you feel a little bit socially awkward in sometimes, or you have trouble speaking up and letting people know your thoughts and being free to share your opinions. So maybe you could be in a group and you're like not speaking up, just letting it go. And this is similar to Mercury in the 12th house. Actually, Mercury 12th house people could be insanely good writers. These are the channelers, channeled writers. They could become famous authors, painters, or something like this. They could create something and it just seems to flow, right? This could be like even public speakers. If they open this channel of connection, they can do public speaking. But if not consciously worked on, you feel trapped in your own thoughts. So it's like, it's hard to say what you think, so you just let it go. It's also transportation. So maybe, I mean, it could have to do with transportation, like cars. Maybe your car breaks down often, or you feel like you can't afford the car that you want. It's also about studying. So feeling that studying is difficult, it's hard to do research or like focus on the details of things, or like, you know, soaking up a lot of information. You do it more behind the scenes. So maybe you're someone that reads a book behind the scenes and then you don't tell anyone. So from past life perspective, you could have been a public speaker, but maybe you were shamed. So now you feel subconsciously that you cannot speak up. Or your early childhood, you were someone that was not allowed to speak up. We didn't ask for your opinion. We didn't ask you to share your knowledge or your things with us. So yeah, this is what could happen with Mercury in the 12th house or Gemini. Okay, so let's move on to the next sign of Cancer. So Cancer is a very nurturing sign, right? So when it's in the 12th house, it's a little bit like you find it hard to show the world your nurturing side. Okay, this could also be difficulties with the mom, with your mother, especially when you have moon in the 12th house. I have this placement myself, and it's been a ride with my own mother. It's a very, very karmic connection that came from many past lives. I've done the meditations to see where it came from, and it makes sense. So sometimes, you know, this is not just mother, this is women in general. So it feels like you never get the nurturing that you kind of want. So with Cancer in the 12th house, you really, or the moon, you have to learn how to nurture yourself. At the same time, these people are extremely psychic. They pick up and soak up feelings, especially feelings, the moon, all around. Can feel all around. What's my feelings? What's their feelings? I don't know. They merge with each other. And this can create certain paranoia because you are so sensitive that you don't know what's going on. So you need to make sure that you take time for yourself. Be by yourself alone, so you don't always feel so super overwhelmed, right? So very important. Take your time. And really process your feelings. You have a trouble accessing your feelings. So how can you access your feelings? By meditation. Sitting down. How does that make me feel? Like basic feeling skills are lacking. I really had to practice with that. Tuning into my feminine energy. I've never learned to do that. So it was very difficult. But you know, with age we grow, so it's very important to sit in your body, to be in your body, and to feel how something makes you feel, right? Because sometimes your boundaries are not really there, and this could have to do with females in your life that have mental issues. But make sure to break this pattern, that you not take over these same karmic cycles. You can break them. So trust in your feelings, and this is how you can resolve your karma. Cancer moon in the 12th house. I made a separate video about it if you want to know more specifically. So let's move on to Leo. Leo and the sun, or the sun in the 12th house. So Leo obviously is the sunshine. It's someone that's comfortable being in the spotlight, right? But when Leo is in the 12th house, it's hidden, right? It's feeling a little bit uncomfortable being in the spotlight. actually wants to be invisible. It's like, do I deserve to be in the spotlight in this group? So you find it hard to find your inner creativity. And some of you don't want children. This is not for everybody, but some of you maybe want, but you don't know really if you want to take that step. So it could also just be locked. The desire could be locked in your, I don't know, or the opportunity is just feels difficult. Yeah, with the sun in the 12th house. Also, very often there is a distance with the father, problems with the father. So it could be that you had an emotionally unavailable father, a father that died on a young age. I'm so sorry if that's true. Or someone that, or a father that just left, right? So these are things that might come up with sun in the 12th house, but it also depends on the aspect. But definitely there is a part of you that feels like you want to hide. You don't want to really be seen by the world. But behind the scenes, you do feel that it's there. It's like you had this past life where you were famous. You had this past life where you were thriving, where you were maybe noble or royalty, right? Like Leos in the past were like was royalty, were famous, were high class, or at least were people that were very visible. So, and now you feel uncomfortable doing that. And this is maybe because you were shamed in public, or you were someone that, and now you feel scared to take that step, or maybe you're so happy to just rest and be secluded. Okay. Also take care of your eating habits, that you don't, because people that have their identity linked to the 12th house usually don't feel their identity strongly as much. So this is especially for sun, and they stop caring about their body because they feel like they're enmeshed with the collective. So yeah, very psychic people can be there, people that very sensitive, can soak up a lot of information. Your identity will be formed through meditation. You will understand better who you are because you're a spiritual being. And you know this. It's just that if you are not connecting to anything like bigger, any religion, any spiritual something, you're gonna feel extremely lost. So very important that you take the time to connect, because it will be answered. Okay, so this is Leo. Let's move on to the next sign of Virgo. So Virgo, we already had Gemini, and this is the same for you. You're ruled by the sign of Mercury. So there is Gemini who is co-ruling with Mercury. So you can check out where's your Gemini. But in general, you feel like you don't want to go too much into detail. You feel that your health might not be as important, right? So some of you are neglecting your health a little bit. Or you could actually be like a clean freak behind the doors. Or you want to clean, but it's like somehow you feel like it's like not clicking. And yeah, there's a lot of inner critical woundings. So you might be very critical of yourself. A very subconscious mind that's telling you you're not good enough. You need to be more perfect. So this is your subconscious belief, and this could be that maybe in a past life you were some type of doctor or some type of researcher, and you could never, like maybe you made some kind of mistake, right? And you feel like always like you're on guard and it's never good enough. And Virgo wants to purify itself. So 12th house is the house where you purify yourself. So you might also be very, very dedicated to spiritual development. Maybe through plant medicine, plant healing, herbs, right? Virgo is very earthy. So a lot of alternative healings may speak to you. You could be a great writer. So you could be like Gemini in the 12th house, a channeler of information. Could be technical information, could be creativity, could be an author of a fantasy book. But you have this massive access to channel information that's coming right through you. Yeah, like poets. So watch your health. Watch for your self-criticism. Make sure to take care of yourself and not burn yourself out and do too much. But at the same time, you could be a great alternative healer. Maybe you're still a doctor in this lifetime, but you're not taking care of your own health. This could also be like 12th house. So this is my perspective of Virgo and Mercury in the 12th house. Let's move on to the next sign of Libra. And like Taurus, it's also ruling Venus. So, and Libra is like double relationship focused, right? So if you have Libra in the 12th house, it's like you want this pure love, pure everything, right? And you came from lifetime where you had like maybe true love, or where you were a lot in relationships, and now you kind of desire that, but somehow it's like you find it difficult to move forward with that, right? So some of you might end up with someone from a past life. So, or, you know, there could be a wounding with maybe someone dying or a betrayal in relationships. So that's why maybe there is a subconscious fear of being in a relationship, even though you really want it. Also, Venus is about creativity. So you could be a very creative personality. You could have been in a past life, be a lawyer or working in law. Working in law, I mean, depends how much time you go back, but there were always some kind of people who worked with the law. So maybe in this lifetime you feel uncomfortable with the law because you've seen how it could work. So there is this kind of a fight, like I want to give and take, but somehow you give more than you take. Like you meet people that are not in balance with your give and take. So make sure that you don't attract people that just take, because you have been in this amazing, you craving this ultimate love that, you know, is not always something that other people are too bothered with on that level. So you might meet some kind of mismatch. So it's really important to look within yourself and your subconscious, like have good boundaries. And also maybe find a more stable love. So this is my view of Libra and Venus in the 12th house. Obviously this is a general, there's so much more to it, but yeah, this is how you could see that. So let's move on to Scorpio. So Scorpio in the 12th house is, to me, a typical shamanic personality. These people can dive really, really into the depths of people's souls, in their own souls. It also rules Pluto. So this is also for people with Pluto in the 12th house. You have to integrate your shadow self. So this is literally Scorpio rules 8th house. You have to crack the code of shadow, your ultimate shadow side. So you will have to deal with a lot of people that represent more darker sides in life. This could be because you yourself have had past lives where you were representing the darker side of life, criminals, murderers, or just someone who was a manipulator. So you will see in this lifetime, left and right, there are going to be people that betray you, that are manipulating you. And maybe from a young age you kind of did feel like it was easy for you to manipulate, but then you start to have this awareness. So your key piece is to work on your shadow side, break and crack the code of your inner system and clean up, because Pluto needs massive transformation. Scorpio needs transformation, meditation, shamanism, therapy. Doesn't matter what you do, it's important to do your internal work, to listen to your internal voice, and also look around you, what you see in people. Forgive, right? Scorpio, biggest lesson is to forgive. So forgive these people and say like, okay, I forgive myself and I forgive these people for whatever they've done to me in a past life. Okay, and parts of these people also represent still your own shadow side. So watch for example, transactional love, watch for manipulation, right? And make sure to start changing within, so you will slowly see what is changing with that, like on the outside, right? Clean up your system, right? Especially if Pluto is close to your ascendant, like I have Pluto close to my ascendant, and that's why I'm super intrigued by breaking karma and doing this work to help other people see their karma and integrate their shadow self, right? I'm getting a lot of Plutonic clients and I love helping because, you know, it's not an easy one and it takes a lot of work and complete surrender and no control. Control has to be out of the door. Control was something you based your past lives on, and this can no longer serve you. You have to surrender to the divine. You have to surrender because we never know when the day comes that we will be taken by the universe or God. We don't know. Your soul knows, and you might have a feeling, but we can never control our lives. We can only live in the moment and let God through our body and, you know, guide us to where we need to be. So it's a very complex one, but this could create the most highest enlightened shamanic people that can transform, get people from the dirt, from darkness into the light. So you have to go into the light yourself first, and then you can help other people, right? But you have to face very uncomfortable things about yourself, but you know, you can absolutely do that, right? So, but there might be some paranoia because you know subconsciously what people are capable of. You might even be able to read darkness within people because you're very, very psychic as well, most of you. So you're scared of, you know, what is possible, but you have to learn how to trust within your body and trust God, trust your intuition, and then you can grow. So Scorpio and or Pluto in the 12th house. Let's move on to the next sign of Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is ruled by the 9th house. This is all about faraway travels. So we can start right off that you came from past lives where you were wondering. This is also with Jupiter in the 12th house, by the way. You were wondering, right? You were someone that was soaking up a lot of knowledge. You could have been like an academic, but you could also have been like a spiritual teacher or someone that has a lot of knowledge. And even in some cases, people have a guru on the other side that is helping them. It's like there is some kind of protection happening, especially with Jupiter in the 12th house, that is protecting the person that has displacement. And there's also a wisdom that can be grabbed. Like, it's like this inner knowing. These people just know, and they don't know why they know. They say something and it's like, I just know. And very often it's correct, or it's just like this abstract information that they just know. They have this inner wisdom, this inner teacher, that they have been spiritual teachers or teachers in the past. They have been maybe monks or someone that was traveling a lot and learned about cultures. So in this lifetime, you kind of want to travel, and you might wonder when you're younger, but then you're like, you feel it's not, like something is stopping you from going overseas. Like maybe short trips is fine, but if you go far away, you feel like something is holding you back. Something is holding you back from teaching and sharing, right? Even though it's very natural to you. So the only way you can do that is really true, complete surrender to the divine. You can become a channeler or a teacher, but not with the ego intent. like ninth house can have ego with it sometimes, right? There we have sometimes like cult leaders if there's a bad placement with Jupiter. But yeah, 12th house is surrender. It's like complete enlightenment, complete oneness, right? So this is Sagittarius or Jupiter. And then we go to the next sign of Capricorn. So Capricorn as well has to do with the father. So Capricorn and Saturn in the 12th house could again represent an absent father, a very cold father, emotionally unavailable father. Saturn has to do with responsibility. So you could have been someone that was very responsible, someone that was doing a lot of things, overseeing a lot of things, and you kind of feel like this exhaustion, like, I don't want to start like this massive company and have all this responsibility, like, and some of you even avoiding responsibility, okay? In a way that is not something you can completely do. You have to integrate it to your subconscious that responsibility is part of life, but it's like you had past lives with so much responsibility that it's almost like too much. So every time you have to be responsible in life, come back to yourself and do something childlike in the house. Do something, yeah, it's like subconsciously you always feel this burden and you don't know why. It's like you, like even some of you might feel this burden to serve because the 12th house wants to serve. And I believe that there were some presidents as well which had Saturn in the 12th house, because it's also serving the collective. So it could be that you actually take on this task and serve the collective, the world, become a volunteer, not expecting anything back, just something you feel you have to do as a responsible person. This could be also carried on from the father line or from father or a father figure. That was like, you know, when you grow up, you have to be this, that, and that, and that. This could also be people that take spirituality very serious. They could become like professional yogis. They are super responsible into like becoming enlightened, or you don't want anything to do with it. This is very often what I've seen with Capricorn. It's like you're either fully in or you're like restricting it, right? Because sometimes Capricorn is the sign of hard work, but sometimes it restricts and it doesn't want to work at all. So it's either going all the way, taking all the responsibility, or it's like not at all. So yeah, also Capricorn 12th house, watch your body, watch your health, because you might feel like some of you are a bit neglective or cannot be alone or sit still. You have to always kind of do something. So be aware that you rest and you take care of this physical body, because 12th house is not very physical. So you might confuse like what's good for you in a way, but you also need to rest sometimes. Okay, so that's Capricorn in the 12th house. Then we have Aquarius. So Aquarius or Uranus. This is the humanitarian sign. So you might have a lot of innovative ideas. You might have been like a researcher or like, you know, like an Einstein in a past life, scientist. Yeah, scientist. And you might have this brilliant ideas, but somehow you don't know how to put it forward. It's like you don't know how to step up to that and how to present it. So some of you might have like an anonymous something and you would be more comfortable doing that. You might be someone that is serving a community, not asking anything back, like a volunteer. You would be working, you find these people working in like shelters, I don't know, domestic violence centers where they just help and support people. You might have very vivid dreams. And also with Uranus in the 12th house, you could get like a Kundalini awakening, because Kundalini is like, it's a sudden awakening. People have different type of awakenings, but with Uranus in the 12th house, that's possible. But there's definitely constant ideas that are going through your mind. So you have to make sure that you rest your mind sometimes. And also there is this feeling of being trapped, either trapped of being in your own body, which is weird, but some of Aquarius 12th house feel that way, or Uranus 12th house, and they don't know how to be completely free and express themselves. So it's like you don't feel like you're equal to the rest, or you feel like you have to be like not acting too much crazy. You feel like you cannot be rebellious, but at the same time, these are very psychic people with a lot of ideas. So if you can journal and write it down and do something with it, that would be absolutely brilliant. You could be someone that's working from behind the scenes on something, and it could be, you know, you could be a great filmmaker, documentary maker, or like stuff like this. So yeah, this is Aquarius or Uranus in the 12th house. And then we have at last Pisces, which is obviously the sign that rules the 12th house, and Neptune. So this is Pisces and Neptune in the 12th house. This is someone that can become one with the universe, especially when Neptune is there. But there's also a lot of deception, okay? So there might be unclarity when it comes to the people around you, unclarity of how you're truly feeling. Only when you have a connection with the divine, things will become clear for you. So what happens with Neptune in the 12th house, it wants this spiritual state, doesn't know always how to get there, and starts creating addictions. So Neptune creates addictions because you want to feel this divine love. You want to reach this high state of enlightenment, this high state of being, and you don't know how. And it's also like the confusion is not making you feel very grounded. So you have to do some grounding practices, but you can develop a really amazing intuition, right? You can really integrate these, like you can run with your fantasy and become very creative, for example. So people with Neptune in 12th house can also be super creative, extremely psychic. So there's always a very best where you can be like very high up, high vibrating being, or you could be confused and run with addictions, and there's also a lot of projections and weak boundaries. So you might be taken advantage of from people, like people are they are confusing you even more about who you truly are, and then you don't see yourself very clearly. So it's very important to align yourself and give yourself the time to either come back into alignment through creativity, or to be alone. And it's good for you to like swim as well. Like swimming is a really good thing to do. Yeah, to go back to yourself. But you could become a very, very enlightened person. I don't want to throw like enlightenment. Like enlightened person is different for me, because a lot of people want to chase this enlightenment, and this is very, I mean, we are here on earth because we have things to resolve. Now it does happen that people reach enlightenment, but it's very few. It's very few. And I feel and I believe that being our most authentic selves, living on a higher vibrational level, will give us so much more happiness and will give us access to the new world that's already here. So I want to help you with my work as well, to, you know, by looking at intuition, giving you practical tips. I'm still Virgo, I love practicality, and using your intuition and astrology to actually get to that stage. So yeah. So this was my video. If this was informative for you, leave a comment below how this resonates with you. Subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I do private readings as well. So if you're like, okay, I have different aspects, different planets, you want to do a birth chart reading, yeah, make an appointment with me, and I'm really happy to help you on your journey of becoming the best and most authentic version of yourself. So thank you so much and bye bye.